You start driving north for 15 miles, turn right, and drive east for another 8 miles. At the end of driving, what is your straight line distance from your starting point? So I guess the first thing we probably want to do is just draw ourselves a compass. So give ourselves almost, it looks like an X and Y axis. This is north. This is east. This is south. And that is west. And the mnemonic is never eat shredded wheat or never eat soggy wieners or whatever you want. But anyways, that's our compass. So it says I start driving north. So that means we'll pick a point and I'm going to start that this is my beginning right here. And then it says that I drive north. So I am going to go north. And again, I don't know. Well, actually, it does tell me. It tells me 15 miles. So from my beginning point, I'm going to go ahead and mark a 15 over here. And the units are miles. Then it says I turn right and I drive east for another 8 miles. And again, this isn't necessarily to scale, but it would look like this. Let's just say then I turn right. Now I'm going east. Then it tells me that I travel east for 8 miles. So I'm going to put 8 there. And then the question says, at the end of driving, what is your straight line distance from your starting point? So if this is the beginning, if I kind of almost think of it like if you were a bird or you're in an airplane or helicopter or some sort of device in which you're flying, it would be one straight line. So let's go ahead and let's switch. Let's go all the way back over to here. And so then the question over here ultimately is what is that value? We actually don't know. So now that we have it set up, this is assumed that it's going to be a right angle. And if that's true, the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. The most important side is our c squared. That's the hypotenuse, and that's the side that is across from the right angle. So over here, in this case, that's going to be x. I'm going to put x in there. If you'd rather leave it c, that's fine. And then 8 and 15 are my legs. And remember, the legs are the sides that actually touch the right angle right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put 8 squared plus 15 squared. 8 squared is 64, and 15 squared is 225, and that's going to be equal to x squared. Then I'm going to add 64 and 225 together. And let's see, 60 and 220 is 280. And then 4 and 5 is 9. So I got 289 is equal to x squared. Then in order to get rid of the square, I will square root both sides. And I'm pretty sure this is, I think this is 17. But I'm just going to punch it into delta math. I'm going to hit the square root symbol. And I'm going to put 289. And it helps if you plug it in correctly. 289. Yeah, it's 17. So just to clarify, when I square root both sides, I find out that x is actually equal to a plus minus 17. But in the context of this problem, it is only the positive values. So my final answer is going to be 17 miles. All right, let's go on to our next example. If you place a 40-foot ladder against the top of a 24-foot building, how many feet will the bottom of the ladder be from the bottom of the building? So let's start with our ladder. Okay, so here's our 40-foot ladder. Remember, it's probably not going to be straight. It's going to be leaning, so it's going to be something like that. So here's ground. We go up the ladder, and it says that it's going to be on the top of a 24-foot building. So now the height of the building, that's going to be 24 feet. Then the question is, if we return to where the ladder is from the base of the building, what is this measure right here? So again, this is going to have to be 90 degrees. They said that the ladder had a measure of 40 feet. They said the height of the building was 24 feet, which means that we're not sure how far the building and the base of the ladder are. So again, Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. I'm going to put x in for a. and 24 in for B. Of course, you could interchange those. And then 40 is going to go in for my C squared. So it looks like the number is going to be pretty big, but don't worry about it. I think 24 squared is 576. And it is 576. 40 squared, that's going to be, let's see, 4 times 4 is 16, then 2 zeros. That's going to be 1600. I am going to double check it. Yeah, 1600. And then let's see, we'll subtract 576 on each side. And I now have x squared is going to be equal to 1600 minus 576 and 1024. After that, I'm going to go ahead and square root left and right side. And so x should be equal to plus minus. Again, whenever you have x squared, get into the habit of writing a plus minus. We know that the answer has to be positive. But again, if you have an x squared equation, write plus minus whatever the root is. Okay, so now I'm going to type in square root 1024, and it's 32. So in this case, the final answer is x is equal to 32, which means that the ladder is 32 feet from the base of the building. So pretty straightforward. All right, let's go to our third example. A certain television is advertised as a 34-inch TV. Now just let you know, it's always the diagonal length. If the width of the TV is 30 inches, how many inches tall is the TV? So let's just set up what would look like our TV. And then let's go ahead and use the diagonal. That's the measurement that they're giving us. And so right here, I'm going to mark this as 34 inches because that's the diagonal. It says the width, that's going from left to right. It's the lateral movement. That's going to be 30 inches. Now, if you put 30 over here, it's not going to matter. But the question is, how tall is the TV? So that's going to be my x. So again, Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. A and b can be x and 30, or 30 and x, whichever. I'm going to do x squared plus 30 squared is equal to 34 squared. And biggest thing, again, it's assume that that's going to be the right angle, which means that that's the hypotenuse right there. That's the longest side. So that's going to be x squared plus 900 is equal to 34 squared is 1,156. So we'll subtract 900 on each side. And we have x squared is equal to, what is that, 256. And then I'll go ahead and get rid of the square by finding the root on each side. And again, x will be equal to plus minus whatever this ends up being. And 256, I'm pretty sure that's 16. You can check it for me. And then in this case, measurement's always positive, so x is going to be equal to 16, and then I'm going to put it in as 16 inches. And there you have it. So it's kind of just a review of what we've been doing so far. In fact, I think these are even a little bit easier than yesterday's questions. Thanks for viewing. Let me know if you need any help, and if you need help beyond class, there is always Scholar Hour.